Welcome back, everybody. I am with Cityy here, the map maker. I'm going to let you know about the schedule just beforehand because it did say before that there is only one game, and that is the game that should have just been played, I believe. There are plenty more games to be streamed today. We're actually going to be in the process of working out the schedule in a few moments. That's what Ince and Koziol are up to. But I'm going to be talking to Cityy, map maker, design maps such as Cure, Silence, Infinity, and many, and Fuse and others. Lots of maps that are actually in popular dual map pools. So, firstly, let's not talk about maps. I'll ask you, how are you? How are you feeling about this event?
I'm fine. I think the event is really awesome. The location is great, really cool, and all the people are nice. It's awesome to meet everyone after knowing them from the internet over several years now.
Hmm.
So yeah, apart from the lack of sleep, everything is really cool.
But that's natural. It comes with you're meant to embrace that factor into it and continue and persevere no matter what.
Yes.
But yeah, what about the teams? Have you actually taken the time to watch many of the games or?
Well, yes, I watched a lot of the games. Some games I missed because obviously I know we are on LAN and I
Mhm.
want to play some myself.
Obviously, yeah.
But yeah, I watched a lot of games. I think yesterday, I think it was Lemmings versus
Mhm.
300 was the last game of the evening, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that was a really awesome game on Tornado where 300 almost made a 40 frag comeback.
Yeah, no, it was on a tornado. They did
Yeah.
some absolutely crazy stuff over there. I'm just looking over down and the group that you played in. What was it like playing with your team? How's the chemistry really fitting with them? And how did your group go?
Well, we lost all of our games,
Oh man,
but it's not really. It's not really.
that's for fun though.
It's we are here for fun. We
Stick
haven't
to
played.
making maps, man.
We haven't played a single time before this event, and actually before I came here, I had not played Quake in like 5 weeks
Yeah.
because I was busy with exams. I actually had an exam on Thursday before I came here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had no expectations going in here,
Fair enough.
just for
Fair enough.
fun and for the
Exactly.
joy.
Now I'm going to talk to you about maps because this is really what you've made a name from yourself for. And there's a lot of questions to ask. I'm trying to think the first one because you've got a lot of maps that actually made it into a regular dual map pools, and that's pretty damn hard to do as a map maker to make something that a lot of people are going to be playing. Did you think that this was going to happen as you were creating the maps? Did you think that this was a possibility, or?
Yes, of course, I thought it was a possibility. I always have hopes for the maps, but never expectations.
Mhm. Mhm.
Of course, I always try to trim the maps to competitive standards, but obviously it's very hard as there are a lot of things that can make or break a map, and I think it's quite easy to make a somewhat playable dual map, but it's really hard to make one that sticks around, and I think none of my maps have been around for long enough to say that they are really good.
Yeah. What's the oldest? Silence is the one you've
Silence
had
is
in
the
the
oldest.
pool for the longest. That's
I think
like a
Silence
year
was
now. It's been around a year.
like July 2012,
Yeah. And
and
then
Kuro was like May this year.
how old is Fuse though? Because I know that was in Zonotic first before it moved over.
Yeah, exactly. Fuse I made last year for a mapping competition in Sonotic,
Mhm.
and it got added after Q like a month later or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I think a month.
No, that's people have been taken to a liking. Puri said that it reminds him a lot of some of the Quake 2 maps that he used to play.
Yeah, I saw him play it
Mhm.
yesterday. No, it was today. He played it with Mobius, and right next to him there was Spotty playing Cure against Demon. It was really cool. They were warming up for their TDM matches.
And how do you actually feel when you're watching these top players playing on your map? Is it some sense of satisfaction, or what exactly are the emotions?
No,
that
not
you-
really satisfaction, but it's just really awesome.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I started making maps, so I can, design areas, play them with other people, and see other people play them, and that's what's really great about it.
Yeah. What is your favorite map that you've ever made?
Oh, it's really hard to say. I really like Fuse in Sonatic or in PQL,
Yeah.
and uh, apart from that, in normal Quake Life, it's probably Cure because I
Cure.
enjoy playing that myself a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think now. I do like Cure a lot. When Silence came out, I was really fond of it, but then there started to become a load more maps that were coming out pretty much from you, and Sinister as well, which Yalak made.
I really like Sinister too.
Yeah, Sinister, he made a very good map. Like at the beginning, it was sketchy, and then with the updates and the big changes that were made, they were
it
really
takes
good.
time.
How do you actually learn really the map making procedure? Like, did you learn from other map makers, or did you teach yourself, or is it? How long have you been doing this kind of thing for?
Basically, I started in 2009 with, it wasn't like competitive map making at all. It was just for fun. And I always try to, improve, find out what makes a good map, and I think a lot of it comes from playing the game and watching the game,
Yeah.
understanding how the game works. And if you don't play or watch game and don't understand how it works, you can't make a good map, because you need to understand the mechanics and the basic principles.
Yeah. And what about in certain situations when you're making a map, you might be thinking, okay, if I build this corridor here and this room to connect to the other room like this, then it might offer a rail angle that can go from there to there. I imagine you might be thinking of that, but are there any times where you make a map and then you realize, oh my god, I did not realize this cool shot would be available, this cool rail angle, this situations could arise from what I've constructed?
It doesn't happen so often with angles. Most of the angles are actually planned or intended, but it happens sometimes with jumps actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
nice.
rarely, but at times. Or sometimes people make suggestions, like if you change this, like on Silence. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember above the mega, that
The little pipe,
exactly.
yeah. Oh, I remember that one. I can't remember who suggested that, but you implemented it really quickly. You're like, yes, this is good. Oh my god, sorry, Ince is just interrupting this entire interview because he wants to say he has a towel now. He has personal hygiene. Anyway.
Yeah, I
back to
don't
business.
remember who suggested it, but it was a
Either
good
way,
idea.
it was absolutely cracking. I didn't actually say which one my favorite one was. I think it's got to be Cure, to be honest. I really like Cure. And Infinity, I think, is a great CTF map, but your CTF maps haven't really seen the same success that your dual maps have. Do you think there's a reason for this?
Well, I think yes. I'm not really. I can't say I'm as experienced with CDF mechanics as I am with dual. But I like to think that I understand somehow what makes a good CDF map. Infinity also needed a lot of tweaking, and still some people like it, some people don't. I think it's especially difficult in the CTF community. They are
very picky. Very
well, not I wouldn't say picky. It's just a question of mentality. Like it's just a bit different in the CTF community. The reception of new maps and
I agree,
the attitude towards old maps.
But they do love their old maps. If you take away Japanese castles from them, they'll hate you forever.
They do. I mean, if you look at the dual community, a lot of people are actually like, come on, let's push for new maps, let's play all the new maps.
It wasn't like that for all time. There was a big resistance about we want to keep
Exactly,
Blood Run, we want to keep Arrow Walk, we want to keep campgrounds and all that stuff. And there's plenty.
There's a lot of things.
Ince is defending campgrounds, which it's an awesome map. But now it's like, okay, let's get more in. This is the way that we have to revitalize the community, is by putting in new maps and allowing players to maybe for some period of time have the chance to play stronger games against people who might ordinarily be a higher level than them. Do you think there's a room for? Are you going to make any more maps? I haven't asked you. What are you planning to do?
I actually have 2 or 3 more unfinished dual maps.
Really?
Yes.
But when you say unfinished, do you mean like you've started drawing the squares?
No, there are some that are actually pretty far already, but since I started university last year, I haven't had a whole lot of time. Basically, what I've been doing last year is like maintaining old maps and getting the maps I had already done polished for release. Like Q only got released this year, and Fuse, and then I had to maintain and update the CDF maps. And then there was the remake of The Edge, which I also did.
Yeah.
I think it was at Christmas. So that took up a lot of time.
And is the next map you're likely to release going to be a dual map?
No, first of all, I need to finish the TDM map I was making.
You got a TDM map?
Yes, I
Is
was.
this your first TDM map, or excuse me if...
It's my first. No, I made Left Behind, which is for 2-on-2 TDM.
Okay, yeah. But
But
for
two
like
no,
4v4?
it's my first 4v4. Maybe
Okay.
I'm making it with FRS, who had
Ah, yeah.
he had
yeah.
yes he had the gameplay responsibility,
Okay,
and I gave feedback at times
I see.
of how I see things and how I think we could improve a few things, but it's his conception pretty much.
Okay,
And
so
that
are you supporting it with maybe the understanding the tools and how to build it, or...
yes, exactly, and also the aspect of the technical things, like I'm always considering stuff like the map's performance, because if you want to build a competitive map, it's really important that the performance is
Mhm.
okay for everyone, because a lot of people are actually still playing on older PCs,
Yeah.
and you want to build a map that is okay for everyone, because otherwise it won't
Yeah.
be played.
No, absolutely. By the way, if anyone in chat has any questions, then do just write them down. I'll see if I can pick up on a couple of them through the interview. So, do you think you're going to start focusing maybe more on team game maps, or do you think duel is always going to be something that you're going to be falling back on? As you said, you've got some ongoing projects with that.
I don't know. I actually like all the modes. I'm not like someone saying that I only played TDM and CDF is super shit, or the other way around. I actually like all of it. Each of the game mode has its own favor,
Yeah.
and that's why I just do whatever I like pretty much. I just made a lot of dual maps,
Yeah.
so I started making that TDM map, and maybe next time I finish a dual map, or I actually also have some work in progress CDF maps that I need to finish, and I also need to update Cold Cathode, which is already in game but needs some fixes. So whatever I feel like, pretty much.
So when's your first Red Rover map coming out?
Tell you what, I don't even know.
You haven't tried it, man?
I haven't tried it.
Red Rover. Do you know when it released like 5 game types at once? It was one of the ones
Yeah,
that...
I know. I've played some of those game types in the closed tester group,
Yeah.
but I don't even play much.
Fair, fair. What about race, man? Because I'm a big race fanboy, and I like defrag and stuff like that. Would you ever consider that? Because I could imagine a race map being easier, to take less time to develop than a dual map or a TDM or whatever the map is.
It depends on what complexity you're shooting for, but
Yeah, that's true.
I probably won't do any race maps myself, simply because I
Alright,
like
just
the
leave. Just go.
simply because I like the time. I also love race. I think it's awesome. It's great that they added it, and I'm actually just waiting for people, to get started with race maps, because there is Quake Live support now in the editor. There are tutorials which I made, and there is help on IRCs and on the forums, and I'm just waiting for people to actually get started with making race maps, because I've talked to Singer, and he said he wouldn't be against contracting community maps for the race mode.
There's a question here. How's it been dealing with it to get maps in the game? Can other people do it if they have a good map? Like, what's like the process?
I think pretty much everyone can get their map in the game if it's up to Quake Life standards.
Do they like go through a judgment phase where they're thinking, this is like quality control? Do they have that?
Well, if you're talking about the decisions about what makes makes it into the game, I think Synchro is responsible for most of that. He's like looking at the maps and deciding if they are Quake-like quality or not.
Yeah.
And the process itself is like, for me, I got to the attention of Synchro through these mapping competitions hosted by Maverick Service. I think I made like 3rd place in 2011, and then won it in 2012, and no, it was 3rd place 2010, and I won 2 years afterwards.
Oh wow!
And
okay.
that's how basically I got to their attention, and I was also in the closed tester group before I even had maps in the game.
Right.
And I gave a lot of feedback and was in touch, and it's mostly about being passionate about what you do and
Yeah,
and
completely.
you know, delivering quality and showing off.
Yeah,
You need to bring yourself to the attention.
yeah, no, absolutely right. There was another question I just saw. That one's right. Yeah, Kuskin asked, do you want a full-time job in the games industry of level design or anything else? I mean, what would be your plans, if
Ultimately,
any?
it's my goal to work in the games industry.
Yeah.
I think it's you know, when I started studying last year,
What do you study? If
I study architecture, and it's actually coming from map making,
yeah,
because I thought I could translate a bit of my hobby into my studies, and that's CID, composition, design, geometry, and stuff like that.
do you ever show them like, look what I made for Quake? This
No.
is something Have you never done that?
No.
You do not think they'd be interested?
And nobody knows.
I think I think tutors would be interested. I don't know if you'd be able to provide, you know, say this is my coursework or something, but I think it's something good to have in your repertoire. Possibly.
Potentially, but
It's very different, however, but to an extent there's design. I don't know. I try to like with my university. I say, yeah, I talk about video games, and they're like, yeah, we'll count that as something legitimate.
I actually mentioned it in my application, but I think they would have taken me anyway because I had decent grades in high school, and
Got you. Fair enough, fair enough. Guys, the games, there are going to be games coming up soon. I just want to get a quick update. Ents, do we know TDM pickup versus Pigs, and do we know when approximately they're going to be playing?
2 hours ago.
Shh. Maybe. I think we might have to. They might come to the point where the quarterfinals will all be played tomorrow, and we're gonna have the round of 16s today. But we'll have to see about that. Anyone in chat got any more questions? I've been trying to interrogate you as hard as I possibly can. I'll talk about the tournament a bit. Favorites at the tournament?
favorites are probably one or two.
Yeah.
But Lemmings have been doing really great. For Old Men, I'm personally cheering for them, but I don't know. They will have hard games.
Yeah.
I hope they can make it, but it will be tough.
Yeah, for sure. Was there any players that you were really keen on seeing? Did you like stand behind any of the players and watching them play or anything like that?
Yes, I did. I couldn't stand it and watched Kula when he played earlier a few times. I was really curious to see Kula and see how he is in person. And then I watched Noctis, of course, and Faz and Fox and Tuvard. Watched them all. I also watched Tony. Tony's great to watch because he talks so much while playing. That's awesome.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's just really authentic. That's awesome.
Ince was putting to the attention of the way that Cooler actually communicates with deliberate murder. Every time he's sort of saying to his teammates a command, he actually, even if he's not dead and he's still in the game, he turns and looks at them. He's like making sure.
Yeah,
that
I
they're
noticed
paying
that. I noticed
attention.
that as well.
And it's quite often he's like, yes, this guy knows what I am talking about. I don't know what's going through his head, but it's really sort of I don't know. It's almost his strongest point, I think. And the way that they just react to everything he says is like, right, you know, we're never going to doubt his decision for a split second, and it's the leadership that just forms so elegantly. What I think is going to happen now is I'm going to ask you for last words, and then we're going to sort out the stream so that we are ready for the playoff bracket. We do have a bracket to display exactly what is going on, and we'll let you know about that very soon. But Cityy, it's been a pleasure having you here. Have you got any last words for yourself?
Well, thanks for having me. I think you're doing great work, especially yesterday already when you were sitting here till after 1 a.m. in the morning. Yes. And other than that, I hope everyone enjoys the games and the stream as much as we do here. And that's pretty much it. I wish everyone at the LAN a lot of fun.
Brilliant, man, brilliant. Thanks so much, dude.
Thanks.
Take best of care. Guys, that was Cityy, the map maker, probably the biggest name in map making in Quake right now. Making maps such as Fuse, Cure, Silence, Infinity, Kolkatho, there's loads of them, and he's going to be making loads more as soon as he's got time from university. So I'm going to be putting